Welcome back, everyone. A couple Lanterns trailers were shown off at a couple recent events, so we'll break all the footage down, what's going on with the series, what they're doing with the future of the Green Lantern's characters. So if you're brand new to the channel, of course I'll be doing episode videos for the series when they do release them. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. If you have been subscribed to my channel for a long time, you probably remember the Flash ring giveaways from those episodes back in the day. If you guys want, I will do a Green Lantern ring giveaway for the Green Lantern episodes when the series does start. Based on the footage, the series is described as a Western-toned series set in rural America with Hal Jordan training John Stewart as a substitute teacher of sorts, like he didn't plan on being his mentor, teaching him how to use the actual ring. Both of them are meant to clash, like their personalities will clash, with John Stewart claiming that he's better at saving people than Hal Jordan. John Stewart's constructs are based more on his background as an architect, so the constructs tend to be more complex, and Hal Jordan is described as just wanting to punch every problem that comes along, like really angry in his older age. So it sounds like his constructs will be simpler, more like Guy Gardner's that we saw, who was manifesting the giant hand, making the middle finger to the Baravian troops in the Superman movie when he was taking them all down. One of the versions of the trailer they showed off didn't have them in their suits. Another one reportedly did have them in some Green Lantern suits. Like, you did actually see some of their suits. And reportedly, they are supposed to look like the Earth 1 Green Lantern suits. So take that as you will. This is somebody describing what they actually look like. So I don't know how accurate that actually is. But I do think this confirms that they're not meant to be just like the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern suits. They're not green, they're not animated, so they're fulfilling the promise of that Deadpool joke in the first Deadpool movie. One of the other big moments in the trailer footage was Chip, the squirrel Green Lantern, was mentioned. He's actually Helvanite, the race that looks just like squirrels and beavers talking small animals, but they're not actual squirrels. He's a Green Lantern of Sector 1014. His main villain from that sector is Dex Star, who eventually becomes a Red Lantern, who was originally a house cat from Earth. So the joke is that the house cat is the enemy of a squirrel and chases him around everywhere. We will see how much of that kind of stuff we see during the series. My assumption is not that much, maybe like a very little bit. James Gunn went on at length about how it was meant to be a terrestrial series, as in it mostly takes place in Middle America on Earth.
Because the thing that keeps getting out is it's a terrestrial story, you know? Yeah, because it's on Earth. The story takes place on Earth. Everybody's like, oh, we don't want to see their outer space. They fly with rings. We don't want to see And I'm like, yeah, they're on Earth for the story, like most Green Lantern stories. It's terrestrial bound. Right. It's not in outer space, you know? I think grounded, just like, if Green Lanterns were real, what would they be and how would they be? We don't have 1,000 Green Lanterns, all that stuff. And it's like, it's a grounded story that's being told through another lens in a way that's really commensurate. It's an HBO series, and it's going to be an HBO series.
The director of the first two episodes said there are excitements to come. It won't disappoint the classic fans, so it does sound like there are a lot of deep-cut Green Lantern Easter eggs with the older comics. You get to meet the characters in a quite rooted way before it takes you intergalactic, so it does sound like we will go intergalactic during the actual series. Like, it won't completely be set on Earth. They will reference stuff that's happening out in outer space. It would be weird if you did a Green Lantern series and you never reference what's happening beyond Earth. We're literally going to get that Supergirl trailer next week sometime, and that is set in another galaxy, on another planet. Like, it is literally a sci-fi movie like you would expect one to be. When I talked to James Gunn, there were only a couple things that he actually said about the series. Most of our conversation was about the other stuff that they were working on, the other big movies. But he did not confirm when they were actually releasing it or when they're actually going to release that first trailer online. It seems like they've delayed the series till after Supergirl. That might be because of the big buyout stuff that's happening right now, or there might be some other series that they don't want it to conflict with that they're also releasing earlier in the year. Not DC, but HBO just in general, because it's going to be on HBO. There's a lot of weird, big corporate stuff happening at Warner Brothers right now that is affecting all the movies, all the TV shows, not just the DC movies and DC TV shows, but they are still releasing the Supergirl movie in summer next year. That has not changed. There was some recent leaked merch that got out of a ball cap that made it seem like the Center was going to be the main villain, and WB then made the person take the post down, making it seem like it was actually true. I don't know if that is the case. That might just be a coincidence. The Center was the main villain of the Justice League Frontier story. It's a sentient island. I'm not expecting it to get that crazy. Like, I don't think the villain of the Lantern series is a sentient island, but I do think there's meant to be a murder mystery, true detective style, because that's kind of the vibe of the series, and they're investigating something, and the person that's behind it is tied to a much larger mystery that's part of this overarching DCU story as it's unfolding, Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. Chris Mundy, the Lantern showrunner with Damon Lindelof, is known for writing these prestige crime thrillers like Ozark, Bloodline, True Detective, says the series is as much of a buddy cop show as a superhero show, and like any good buddy cop show, Hal and John are opposing forces, like very different personalities that clash with each other. Then he said our show is in a lot of ways about replacement. When should someone step aside, and when is it time for the next person to take the reins? Basically, John Stewart eventually taking the reins. I think confirming the idea that John Stewart is meant to be the Green Lantern that will eventually be on the future Justice League once it forms out of the Justice Gang. We will probably get into that once we start getting episodes, just because it seems like they're using this series to set him up as a much, much bigger character in the DCU. Then he goes on to say that push and pull between those two characters, Hal and John, is really important. So much of the power that John has by not taking the bait, understanding that you lose power if you're yelling and screaming. This is what we're trying to convey. He knows that he belongs in the Green Lantern Corps, that is, so he doesn't have to overcompensate. There's a real balance there that's innately inside of Aaron, talking about Aaron Pierre, who plays John Stewart. He's big, he's an intimidating presence, just physically, but there's a softness to him too, a thoughtfulness. You can't teach that. So he's just talking about Aaron Pierre being an amazing actor. If you've not seen any of his other stuff, he's fantastic. Also, he was supposed to be in one of the versions of Marvel's new Mahershala Ali Blade movie, then got taken out of the movie like he was cut from the movie when they completely changed that script 5 or 6 different times. As much as that does suck, it did create the opportunity for him to then be John Stewart of the DCU, so he would not be in the Green Lantern series Lanterns if he were in the Blade movie.
Already in the void, I'm not trying to get canceled again.
I don't like you.
You never did.
Aaron Pierre himself said, "For me, the character, John Stewart, just radiates strength and fortitude, the hunger to be the best version of yourself, which also holds you accountable when you're not. And on the off chance that he doesn't hold himself accountable, comic fans, well, like he's depending on comic fans to keep him accountable to the comics." So part of the idea is that he is doing his own spin on the character, but he is trying to be very true to the comic book origins of John Stewart, the vibe from his comics. Some of the bigger character beats that it sounds like they're keeping from the comics is that he wanted to become an architect after he left the military, and then that did happen. Like, he came up through the Marines, then eventually he was an architect, and then worked with Ferris Air, and that's how he met Hal Jordan. I know people asking about Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner and what's happening with him next. He's probably going to come back for a Man of Tomorrow movie, but he's also supposed to appear in this Green Lantern Lanterns HBO series. James Gunn said they are taking full advantage of the fact that it's meant to be a more mature R-rated level series, so Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner, even though he's really silly during the events of the Superman movie, does way more hardcore stuff, way more foul, way edgier stuff than he does in the Superman movie. Just imagine classic comic book Guy Gardner and turning the dial up to 11. When it comes to the other Green Lanterns from Earth that we know canonically, like Kyle Rayner, I'm assuming that he has not gotten his Green Lantern ring yet, because this is meant to be the introduction of John Stewart getting his Green Lantern ring, so it's like a brand new thing. So if we do see Kyle Rayner, I think that's in success in many years. Like, eventually we will see all of the classic Green Lanterns show up. DC is doing a new animated version of Kyle Rayner and Jessica Cruz on a show called My Adventures with Green Lantern, but that's not canon to the DCU, it's canon to My Adventures with Superman, which is meant to be Elseworlds off in its own continuity. Absolutely great TV show. If you haven't watched it, I would recommend checking out those episodes, but it's not meant to be connected to whatever James Gunn's doing with his TV shows and his movies in the DCU. Ulrich Thompson, who you probably remember from Banshee with Anthony Starr, who's Homelander on The Boys right now, is going to be their Sinestro, which reminded me that Anthony Starr would be the most amazing Reverse Flash inside the new James Gunn DCU. Please make him Reverse Flash, even though I don't think he's going to do that. But there have actually been a lot of DCU fan castings out there that have seemingly come true the last year or so. When James Gunn made the announcement, Anthony Starr was also hyping up Ulrich Thompson on social media like he was so happy for him, because now he has also joined the superhero genre, just in a completely different cinematic universe. If you didn't watch those original Banshee episodes, that was Anthony Starr's first real big series, his first big claim to fame before he became Homelander on The Boys. Ulrich Thompson was the main villain of that series. If you've not watched those episodes, it's actually a pretty fantastic series that's getting way more play now because it just hit on Netflix and a lot of other streaming services where people didn't see it when it was back on Showtime. What they're saying is that Sinestro is going to be a recurring character during the series, meaning that he's not going to be in every single episode, but he'll be in a number of episodes, probably both in present day and in flashbacks, to mirror the relationship between Hal Jordan and John Stewart, because Sinestro was the mentor of Hal Jordan when he first became a Green Lantern. So it'll probably be one of those arcs where Hal Jordan has a lot of PTSD over the way things went sideways with Sinestro and him becoming a Yellow Lantern, worried that he'll break bad too, like he'll do wrong by John Stewart. But I think that means that in present day, Sinestro has long since quit the Green Lantern Corps because you have an older Hal Jordan, older Sinestro, so it's been a long time since he's broke bad and quit the Green Lantern Corps and become a Yellow Lantern. But when the series picks up in present day, I don't think Sinestro has created the Sinestro Corps yet. He's still operating by himself. Everybody post all your reactions in the comments below. Generally, all the feedback that I've been hearing from people seems like good news. It seems like the series is going to be pretty solid. Just because CCXP is right around the corner, I'm expecting a couple big DC and Marvel trailers. I'll do videos for whatever they do wind up releasing. We're supposed to get that Supergirl trailer. I don't know if they're going to release any Lanterns footage online, though, just because if it's not coming out till later, they might hold the footage till early next year. Maybe we will get lucky, so just whatever winds up being released, of course I will do all the videos for it. Be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss any of that. I just did a much larger video about them bringing Stargate back and doing a brand new series. Click here for that, and click here for my brand new Superman Man of Tomorrow video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.